as I hope you're starting to understand, lighting a scene, it's kind of like building with Legos, and each light is its own little Lego. So each light is doing something, and it's doing something very specific. So this, perhaps, I'm thinking if I add just a little bit from, no, whoa, that was amazing. The eye light really gave a lot of light. You kind of forget how much light that you're getting. So I'm going to tilt it up, put it on the ceiling, and we're getting just a hint of light from that. Maybe that's not quite enough. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take the light that had been the fill light, aim that up at the ceiling, and now we're getting a sense of a little bit of light in the space, but still it's a very, very dark feel. So turning on this light that's hitting the background, now I'm just holding my fingers up in front, and you see suddenly there's a pattern here. My fingers are moving a little, so the pattern's moving a touch. But you get the idea that there are all kinds of things that you can do. If you place something in front of the light, that's called the Cuccoloris effect, and you're essentially putting different possible patterns into the background. And you can add or subtract drama by using different kinds of patterns. Some people use theatrical lights called Licos, and they are lights that are designed to actually place steel patterns. They're pre-cut patterns, and you can have them in more or less focus. Right now I'm going to add a whole bunch of color. That's this is giving us a very, very different mood, I believe. I'm going to come around, look at the monitor. Now, as you recall, our fill light that's now bouncing off the ceiling is still coming from what you would call the fill side. I'm going to bring it around now, crossing in front of camera. So it's coming from the key side, and I'm adding a little more. And here again, we have, this is now acting as our key light, but it's still kind of a very dark look. And as I pan it from one side to the other, you can see the effect that it has coming from different places. Right now I'm going to aim it into our reflector, and now again you can see how this has changed the whole look and feel of the scene. So just by changing a few lights, you can change the whole sense of how a scene plays. Just see how all I'm doing is tilting the light down into the reflector, and now I'm aiming it down and it's bouncing off a warm table in front. Maybe what I'll do is I'll open up yet another reflector. I happen to have another one right here. I'm going to put this on the table and bounce the light here. So look over here. Now suddenly you see how, look even a little further over. What you can see is how the that edge light, that was the cheek light, now is pretty much being blocked by the hair. And so it has very little effect on the face. Let's say I'm going to re-aim the this bounce light a little. And now this is kind of the effect that you would get, let's say, if you were in a restaurant and you had various overhead pin spots that are bouncing off a table in front of someone. As I move it around, I'm moving it around a little bit in front, and you can probably see that that really fills in pretty much all the features of the face. Now I'm going to go hard side with it, and you'll see what happens if I give it a lot of light. Now that's a look you probably don't want. So we're going to stay with this nice, soft, modulated white light. Now let's see what happens if I turn on the key light and we add a little bit of this fill. Actually, can you hold that right underneath? And I'm focusing up on the on that white disc. And now, can you hold it ever so slightly lower, please? Okay. You see what that is doing? How that is? That's just kind of filling everything in. Now I'm going to kill the key, and you can see the combination. It's interesting how each light, though it does different things, now every face is going to be a little different in the way it accepts light. So this is where you really need to use your eyes. I'm going to pan over a touch, because now hold the far end up a little. No, the far, yeah, tilt it up a little. Okay. And I'm actually going to bring this light up. Hold it lower, a little lower, and a little more to your left. Okay, but looking up towards the trophies over there. Okay, so this is actually another very nice interview feel, even though our lighting is suddenly, it seems like our lighting is very strange, but it actually kind of works. So, there are a lot of different ways to light any scene, and as you change them, the whole mood changes. So right now we're back. I'm keying by bouncing into our original white source. I'll take this one back. That's down on the table, so that's doing a lot less. And yes, we're a little bit dark. Now, speaking of being dark, I'm going to add some exposure here, so you can see what happens as I come up half a stop or a whole stop. I'm just doing this electronically. You may also see some halation up here. That's from the backlight. Now, this is something where on a normal shoot, I would have put a flag up here to eliminate any kind of lens flare that we're getting from a light. However, it would have gotten in the way of being able to do all these things, and the ceiling is low, so I have no control over that. So that's why I've been kind of living with it. And it's actually worse with the with that diffusion. let me actually show you one more thing with the diffusion, which is if I take the diffusion away, I can now, I'm using the barn door, bringing the light down, so the light is basically hitting primarily the shoulders and not really hitting the top of the head. So that's kind of another look that that we can try. I'm going to let's try changing. I think we've seen this background color enough. Let's change to something that's kind of a this is a very very deep deep lavender, say. We'll open that up a touch.